Hey there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be flipping through July in my 2023 Hobonichi Cousin. I've been using this planner so far all year to do my everyday life planning, as well as trying out a few different things in here between journaling, note-taking, and all sorts of things. I think I found my rhythms for this year, but I will be switching it up in 2024. I can't believe we're almost at 2024 planner season, you guys. Okay, so nothing has changed in the beginning here. I still have all of these things here. I think my plan is to replace this cover for 2024. I am still going to be using a cousin, but I am going to be using it differently. I will talk all about that in another video. But as far as for this year, I'm thinking that I'm not going to really spend much time making things to fit in these pockets because the year's already more than halfway over, and I'm thinking of replacing my cover for 2024 and possibly getting it sooner and using it for this planner in 2023. Right now I'm using this planner with this cover from Hobonichi. So everything I got was from Hobonichi, the planner cover, and I got the cover on cover. I do like this setup. I think I would have liked to have spent some time putting photos in here. I had all the intentions in the world of doing that, but I never quite got around to it. Just like I had all the intentions of putting things in these pockets. However, what I don't love about these pockets is they are super shallow. So if you see these sticky notes, don't go down further. I wish they were longer pockets so I could put taller things into them. But what I have in here now are these meal planning sticky notes, which I do use each week. Just a regular pad of sticky notes in case I need them. And these little page flags from Studio Calico, which I haven't really used, but I think would be kind of fun. I also have a paper clip here because sometimes I do need to kind of clip a page in place, and it's nice to have that. What I would like to have here would be some washi samplers, but I don't have anything in there. That's something I will probably put together at some point. I did pick up these index clips. This is the package from them. I believe these are from Midori. And they came in an 8-pack, and I'm using them to mark I have 3 right here. You can see I have one on the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. So you can see so I can easily flip to those pages. I originally had been using the strings that came in the planner. There are only 2, and this planner really needs 3. I am not sure why Hobonichi didn't make 3 because they made this cover specifically for this planner that has a monthly, a weekly, and a daily. I guess maybe they thought you didn't need to mark your monthly. I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, they only had 2 strings, and I really need 3. And I don't love the string because it gets in the way when you're writing. So I like these clips because I can leave them in place while I am working in my planner. And they fit very nicely on one page. I did crinkle the page there, but that's not because of the clip. And it's very easy to grab them to flip to the page. So now let's go ahead and flip through. Moving into my trackers at the very beginning. It is now Monday, July 31st, so I haven't fully filled out the 31st because I'm not done with it. But I did revamp what I am tracking, and hopefully you can read that. But if not, I am tracking that whether or not I plan every day, journal every day, do a budget check, and update my budget spreadsheet, create something, do something crafty, pick up my house, clean my kitchen, read, walk at least 10,000 steps, do Pilates or some other type of exercise, and then post Instagram stories. And I kind of revised this from what I had done earlier in the year, and I really like this approach better. All of these things I want to accomplish every day except for the Pilates one, which I do hope to do way more frequently than I'm doing. You can see I only did Pilates twice this month, but it was a very busy, very stressful month, and I just did not have time to fit in those workouts. So that is one of my goals, to kind of refocus for August. So I am planning on tracking all of the same things. For this month, I used my Crayola Super Tips markers to do my tracking, and I have a rainbow through the days. So Monday is red, Tuesday is orange, Wednesday is yellow, Thursday is green, Friday is blue, Saturday is purple, and Sunday is pink. I do really like that pattern. I like that I'm able to kind of see at a quick glance what days I do well. So you can see here, like on Tuesday, I tend to not do very much at all, and Wednesday as well. And I know that that is because those are my busy days that I am in the office and tend to work a lot. So I don't have time for, a lot of home care or self-care or planning or anything like that because I am working. So I can see those patterns really well. For August, I'm thinking of moving away from the Crayola Super Tips. I was using these in my planner a lot for a few months. If you watched any of my previous videos, my Hobonichi flip throughs, you will see that I use those a ton on my daily spreads and my weekly spreads, and I loved them, but they are starting to run out of ink and they do have limitations. These are super cheap markers. And you guys, I have all the Tombow dual brush tip markers, so I should be using them because they are just a way higher quality marker. The price definitely reflects that. If you don't have any markers and you're looking to buy some, I do recommend the Crayola Super Tips. I will link them down below, but the Tombow markers, I do have them, and there's way more color options. They are just a nicer quality marker, but you are paying for that. Okay, moving to the monthly. So in my monthlies, I am doing pretty much just functional planning. So if you watched some of my earlier videos from the year, I had tried to do some like creativity on here. It was just too much to keep up with the monthly, the weekly, and the daily in a creative aspect. I really need a functional planner, and that is in fact my primary goal in keeping the Hobonichi Cousin this year, was to have a functional planner to track all of the things I need to do and all of my appointments and all of those types of things. So my monthly spread is primarily just future planning. I do decorate it by adding these like a color of the month. You can see in June I had done yellow. In August I'm doing this like purple color. In July was this blue. I like that adds a little bit of decoration and interest without being too difficult. It was just without being too difficult to set up. I did add a little bit of decoration here in August, but for July, I pretty much didn't. I had a little note here I had to cover it up. So there were a few like little things that add a little bit of decoration, but primarily this is just functional. You can see I just like crossed something out here, and I didn't even like try to make it look nice. This is just about being functional to me. On the side here, I do have a tracking list. At the top, what I'm tracking are the tasks that are down here. So I guess I didn't mention that, but if you'd seen my previous videos, this is something I've mentioned before. Along with doing a habit tracker here in the front, this little section I am using for long-term cleaning goals. I have put them on the month that I think that they should fall. These are things that are either like monthly or long-term, like cleaning, or just things around the house or in my life that I don't do all the time. I do maybe once or twice a year. Some of them have specific times that they have to be done. Some of them I'm just guessing when I think it makes sense to do them. So these are the ones that I thought at the beginning of the year when I planned it out made sense to do in July. You can see I only did one of the 4. It's totally fine. I did realize during the month that I actually did not want to do this year, so I'm going to put a line through it. That's just how I do my bullet journaling. And these ones I do want to migrate. Instead of migrating everything forward as I don't complete it, I migrate it once I know I'm going to do it, because otherwise I will be rewriting everything a ton up here. Instead, what I do is I put the tasks up here for the month. Oh, that's August. I put the tasks up here that are right down here. And then you can see I didn't even put the washer dryer one for whatever reason. Oh, because I had migrated that one. So washer dryer was actually in June. I migrated it to July because I had completed it. But basically what I did was I have right here all of the things from my July list, and then all my catch-up tasks are the things from earlier in the year that I have not yet gotten to. And I'm totally fine that this list is very long. I had a very busy first half of the year. I'm expecting to have a much slower second half of the year. So my thought is I will be able to catch up on a lot of these things. Here are my monthly cleaning tasks. So these are things that I do every month, at least once. These are just like the things like cleaning, routine cleaning in my house. I do have cleaning I do every week as well, which is not listed on my monthly. Of course, it's listed on my weekly. And then here are just some other tasks that I needed to do. Moving to the weekly spreads. So I have kind of found my groove in my weekly spreads. I like to do some decorative on my weekly spreads, and this is not a good example. Here's a better one, but I have started being very decorative in here. My primary goal for my weekly spreads is not really future planning. I do some future planning in here. I do some tracking on my weekly spreads, but my primary use of my weekly spreads is to memory keep or write down what I accomplished or what happened during the day, because I am using this as reference when I'm putting together my Project Life album. And if you're watching this because you are a planner person and you don't know what I'm talking about with Project Life, I will link you to a Project Life album flip through that I have on my channel, because that is an album that I use to memory keep. And it is like scrapbooking, but it is a very simplified version of scrapbooking that anyone can do. So if you are someone who is interested in memory keeping, I would recommend checking out that video. So what I do during the week is I try to fill these in daily. Sometimes I have to go a couple days before I have time to fill it in. And I'm just making them fun. I'm having fun being decorative. I'm gluing things in. I'm doing some doodling, adding some stamps, just trying to have a lot of fun with it. This week I traveled to Montreal with my daughter. This was actually the end of June, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I was super simplified this week and just did the bare bones of what I have to do. So you can kind of see my bare bones layout. But basically I have a task list over here, which are just like things that I want to accomplish. Some of them are things I do every week. Some of them are things that I just want to get done or just need to get done, and they're listed out there. Here I create a focus, and it's either one or two things that I really want to focus on during the week that I want to get done. Across the bottom, I lay out my chores and my dinner. So my dinner, I just like to keep track of what I ate. I don't actually write in here ahead of time because sometimes I switch it up, but I write down what I end up having. What I do end up doing is I use these as my meal planning, and that is just kind of, I have it on my current week, and I cross things off as I have them, and I put them here. So I have like a loose meal plan on the sticky note. I don't keep those sticky notes. Once the week is over, I will get a new sticky note for the next week. For my chores, there are certain chores that I do every week on certain days. Like I almost always do laundry on Mondays. And so I will put those chores in. At the beginning of the week, I will look at the week and say, okay, well, maybe this week I can't do laundry on Monday because I have something going on. Then I will kind of reschedule it for another day. After I schedule the things that I do every week, I will go look at my monthly and look at the things that I need to do during the month. And I will figure out which ones I think I will have time for this week and where I think I will fit them in. In addition to that, I will try to fit in some of these additional tasks on specific days if I think I have time for them. This is just a loose, like, ideal schedule type of idea. I don't actually end up doing all of these things on those days, but it gives me a reference for when I'm setting up my dailies to know kind of what I was hoping to accomplish on that day. And as my schedule adjusts and changes, I will adjust that as well. This week, I traveled a little bit in the middle of the week, so I ended up just putting this here because I didn't feel like filling it in. And like this one, I had traveled here and I didn't put anything and I just kind of left it. I started to, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it right now. You can see I got back into having fun with it this week. I don't love a lot of my handwriting on here, but I'm enjoying trying it. I fell off doing the weather here. I hope to try to do that because I like having that record, but it's okay if I miss it. I put a piece of washi on this week, which I really love the way it looks, but it really cut down the space I had, so I haven't done that again. I love this week. I think this is really fun, and I started putting some decoration down here in my chore section for the days that I didn't have anything scheduled or where there were space, and I really like how that came out. This week I did do some doodles again, some stamping, but still some washi and some like things glued in. A lot of these things that I'm gluing in are from magazines. I really enjoy just flipping through magazines and cutting things out. So I keep some like little words and stuff that I try to find space for in here. And I cut things out that are either like inspiring to me or pretty, or things that I think are words and stuff that I could use based on what I do in my regular life. Like this one says working from home. I knew I was going to be able to use that because I work from home frequently. So that was something that I thought was ideal to cut out because I could fit it on here. I really, really, really love how this week came out. I did do a few doodles. I'm not a huge fan of my doodling, but I think that it works in addition to the glued in pieces, the washi tape, and the journaling. And I love how this spread looks. And I think that this is kind of like my ideal like goal for how a spread will look at the end of a week. Then moving into last week, I decided to go with a pink theme this week because like the Barbie movie, I didn't see the Barbie movie. I actually saw Oppenheimer, but I'm going to see the Barbie movie the next week. But I was just, I was feeling it, did the pink. This week, you can see I had done like random colors. So I liked kind of having that color scheme throughout, but I don't plan on doing that every week. I like that I had the ability to kind of put some smaller things in here and then put a bigger thing. So my cat turned 9. My cat is named Pumpkin, and he turned 9. He is not a black cat, but that is the cat picture that I found in a magazine. And his birthday was actually on the 25th, but we celebrated on the weekend. So I love that I had the ability to kind of put that on here and make it bigger. I also added some stamping here for movies and some washi and other things along the bottom. I really, really love how this week came out, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with these and gluing all the things in. I think keeps this interesting and exciting for me so that I want to come back and do it. It doesn't take that long, so it's something I can do daily, and I am making that record so that when I want to document in Project Life, I have everything available to me. Okay, moving on to the dailies. So I always start my month with my daily goal page. I write out all of the things that I want to kind of accomplish. July, I did not get to most of the things on my goal list. Totally fine. This month was very, very crazy. My daughter is moving out in August next month to go to college. So there's just so much going on with that and prepping for that. That I think that has kind of taken over, all of my free time rather than working on other things. I'm just kind of like treading water for now. And then once she moves out, I expect things to move to a much slower pace. I did do really well of keeping up with my planner during the month of July, so I am very happy with that. So I move into my daily plans, and you can kind of see my daily format. I haven't really changed this much, but I do a title across the top, and then I have on the left-hand side columns with my task list, and then this middle piece is for all sorts of random things that I will write down, like notes and stuff during the day. And then I will also add like things in here if there's extra space. So at the beginning of the month, I was still using the Crayola Super Tips. So these are done with the Crayola Super Tip markers. And I do like that. I'm happy I'm moving away from it though. It gives me more options as well. This is the Tombow Food and Suki hard tip. I'm using that for my titles and my dates. And then for the rest of my journaling, I use a Sarasa Mark-On 0.5 pen. And that is what I like to do for all of my journaling. Okay, so on the first, you can see here, I have a lot of tasks that I write down that I don't get to. That is something I'm working on. I am very ambitious when I do my task list. I need to work on that, but for now, that is what happens. I started doing this thing called bedtime brain dump. I don't do it every day, but sometimes what I do, rather than planning, so for a while I was setting up the next day's plan in the evening. And I didn't love that because one, I like having that time in the morning to sit down and like slowly plan out the day and kind of think through what I want to do. Second, doing it the night before I just don't have the time for it the night before, and my brain is just, I'm a morning person. In the evening, my brain just wants to be done. It wants to lay down. I don't want to spend the time doing it. So I found myself kind of rushing through the process. And then sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling inspired to do something, I'm feeling sick. And sometimes what I plan the night before is not what I really want, or I want to change my setup. So what I decided to do instead is what I've been calling a bedtime brain dump. And basically on the previous day, so on Saturday night, what I did was I made my brain dump, and I just sit here and list out all of the things and get them out of my head that I want to be thinking of when I set up my planner for the next day. That way it's not stressing me out over the night. I'm not thinking about it, but I don't have to worry about this being all perfect, because I can redo it the following morning to make it look good and figure out what I actually do want to focus on. What I don't love is I was doing this very sloppily with sloppy handwriting. That is, how it turned out. It's fine, but I do want to work on that. On Sunday, I started taking some notes because I did end up purchasing the Kodak Ektar H35 half frame camera. I'm still working through my first roll of film, but I should be done with that fairly soon. And then I will be sharing how that went on my Instagram. But I was doing some research for that. I wrote down some thoughts for December daily. I don't think I'm going to actually do a traveler's notebook, but it was a thought. And then I made a note of a movie I watched, because for my media journal, I want to print those and know when I did them. I have already updated it for that. And then, like I said, I adhere things in here. What I do is any screenshots or things like that I see on Instagram and stuff that are inspiring or funny, I like to screenshot them and print them out and keep them in my planner, because it gives me a place to kind of store those memories and then get it off my camera roll. Moving into the 3rd and the 4th. So here I made some additional notes. I paid bills, just random stuff. But here I kind of went back to, this was my older style. And this is using my mild liner as my title. Here, that's a different color, obviously, but I liked this style of title. I had moved to this style, and I was just getting sick of it. So I did one day like that, and then on Tuesday, I pulled out, this is a paint marker, a Posca paint pen that I used for these titles, and I actually really like how that turned out. I just decided to do hot pink, even though it was the 4th of July. I said I woke up feeling like hot pink, and that was just kind of what I felt like doing that day. I didn't have time to plan on the 5th and 6th. That happens pretty frequently on office days. So what I ended up doing was using these pages for other things. For the 5th, I'm doing some color palettes from Tombow markers, just kind of some pairings so that I have this to reference when I want to do additional pages. I only have the 3 on here. If you have any Tombow color palette pairings that you like, let me know in the comments and I will try them out. And then if I like them, I will add them to here, because I'm using this as reference when I want to work on a new daily spread and pick a new color palette. Right now, this is my favorite, but I do like mixing it up. On the 6th, I started kind of brainstorming what my 2024 lineup is going to be, so you can see a little bit of a preview there, and some thoughts. I've already kind of changed my mind on a few of these things. I am changing my mind. I probably still will change my mind before I have to really commit to anything, but I did already pre-order my Common Planner V6, and I'm pretty set that is going to be my everyday carry planner next year, and my cousin is going to turn into a daily journal. The 7th, the Taylor Swift released the Speak Now Taylor's version. I did not have time to plan, so I ended up just printing these here. I had the best of intentions to kind of put some quotes and stuff from it. I never got to it. Totally fine. That's real life. Saturday, again, a bedtime brain dump that filled up most of the page, and just my daily notes. And I had made a media journal update list here of things that I wanted to, or I needed to print to include in my media journal. Okay, and then moving on to Sunday, I went back to using the Posca pen for a day. I just kind of, I wrote feeling like I need a minute. I was kind of stressed. I took kind of a rest day. I found this thing on Instagram, which I thought was super interesting. This was a list, an itinerary stuff for some travel that I need to cover up. And then here I started reading this book. It's called The Power of Fun by Catherine Price. I've really only read the intro so far because I haven't had time, but my goal is to start taking notes from this book. In here, I plan to fill out the rest of this page and then I will move to a new page. But this is a book that I am enjoying it so far, and I do hope to find more time to read it in August. And I will just come back and fill in this page when I get to it. This page I was using just to kind of test some markers. I took some notes here. I have Japanese beetles in my yard, so I wrote down some notes about that. And here's something I printed off of Pinterest, or Instagram, I mean. This was something from Brandy Kincaid. I love her art. You'll see her things printed off Instagram all the time in here, but I did buy this print from her and cut it up to include in here. I really love how it looks. However, she prints on very high quality, thick cardstock, so it is very hard. I couldn't write on the back of it, which is why this ended up being kind of just a test page. But it doesn't make too big of a difference because I do have my pencil board that I can cover it up when I'm writing on anything other than this specific page. Friday was my pass day, which every other Friday I take the day off of work, or that's how my work schedule is set up, where I don't work on every other Friday. And so I had a lot of other things to do. So I wrote out my priorities and just kind of focus on getting some stuff done. Moving into the 15th, I have Saturday and Sunday. You can see I'm kind of going back to this style. I think, again, I was using the Crayola Super Tips. I'm just kind of like figuring out how I'm feeling and like what markers I want to use. And then on Sunday, I did a similar style, but using the Tombows. So you can see kind of the difference between the Crayolas and the Tombows. It looks pretty much the same on the paper, except this one you do get a little bit of like, you can see the lines a little bit more, and it like kind of beads up at the end of the line. But otherwise they're pretty comparable for just straight marker coloring. These do have brush tips though, so if you want to do like lettering, and they have the small tip on the other side. Here's Monday. I was having a rough Monday, so I just like wrote this out, which I thought was kind of fun. Just a bunch of random notes from that day. And then here was a Tuesday. I didn't have time to plan, so instead I tried to make a list of lessons for my 30s so far, which I thought was pretty fun. If you want to read this, I'm just going to briefly go over them. I'm not going to read them, but number 1 is go to the doctor. 2 is listen to your body. 3 is everything is figure outable. 4 is life should be fun. 5 is little things matter. 6, be yourself. 7, drink water. And 8, feelings are temporary. If you want to read it, here you can pause it and read all of the notes, but that was a list that I just kind of had fun doing. And that is one of the things that I do really like about this planner, is it kind of prompts me to fill those blank pages with random lists and notes. This day was a funny story. So I was super busy and I didn't plan Tuesday or Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I went to plan, and for whatever reason, I thought it was Wednesday. And I set up this day. I did the Wednesday, I did this. And then it was like, oh my gosh, it's Thursday. What am I doing? So I just kind of abandoned it and did my Thursday. But then I had this page that was like set up. So I ended up using it for some marker testing. I added some washi and a printout here, which I really loved how the colors turned out. But it was funny because this was not real. Like, I set it up on Thursday thinking it was Thursday, or thinking it was Wednesday. So that was just a random thing. Here, I did this. I do want to point out that sometimes you'll see I write out side quests. And side quest is something I got from Claire from online, which I don't think that she uses it the same way that I do. But basically, she does it when she's like, oh, I'm going to work on something that is less, like, not my main primary focus in life, but just like a little thing, like a side quest in life. I do it when I'm like, oh, I didn't put something on my task list, but it either came up today, I want to do it. Just, how things transpired. I'm working on this instead so that I kind of like get credit for it in my planner and have a place to write it down, because sometimes Like say something comes up that should go in this task list and I've already written this craft list. I don't have space to put it. I don't want to just like squeeze it in here because it won't look good, or if there's multiples. I'm not whiting stuff out. So instead I make a new list that is side quests. This day I specifically think though, I was not feeling great. So I purposely made myself a short list and then I added more stuff to side quests. You can see though, I still don't finish everything because I do have a problem of making way too long of daily to-do lists. Friday, I again did not plan, but I'm using this page to write some ideas for one little word for 2024. That is a project that I have done since 2015 from Allie Edwards. I have kind of fallen off of following along with her class with it. I do think I want to try to see it through to the end of this year, but next year I am not planning on keeping an album or participating in the class, but I do still want to have a word that I will focus on, probably in my journal and other planners. So this is just kind of a list of some words that I'm thinking about. Saturday, I tried a color scheme here. It did not work. So, it is what it is. Sunday and Monday, moving towards the end of the year, I do like how these ones, I'm just trying out different color schemes. I've moved fully into the Tombos and I'm loving it. Trying out different headers, different fonts. I put some PET tape here. Is it PET tape or PET tape? I don't know. I put some of that on here. I have way more washi tape. This was like the first one I bought of these, but I think it's really cool looking. So I was excited to kind of include that in my planner. I had picked it up a while ago. I don't know why I suddenly was like, oh, I need to use this, but I'm starting to use more and more washi in here. So I do like the opportunity to use those products. Here, I probably will print something and include it here off of like Instagram, but as I get closer to the end of the month, today is the 31st, so I haven't fully filled in all of these pages. The 25th and 26th, totally blank because I didn't plan those days and I haven't needed blank pages yet. This is a blank spread rather than one blank page, which is pretty valuable. So I'm probably gonna save it until I need a blank spread for a list of some sorts, and then I will come back and use it. And I will share a full year flip through at the end of the year, probably in January, so that you can see how this planner fully evolved during the course of the year. And some of these blank pages like this might be filled in from prior months. The 27th, I really love this color scheme and I really love this color scheme. Those are kind of my two favorites that I'm doing right now. Then I wanted to try something different on this Friday. I wanted kind of like a coffee vibe. So this was kind of crazy. So I thought of this color scheme in my mind. I tested out some pens, picked this out, wrote it down. There's just notes under there I had to cover up. So this is not part of the color scheme. And then after I did all of this, I was like, what should I put right here? And then I saw this washi in my stash, which is just the perfect color scheme, and it's vertical, which makes it harder to use because it's vertical. Normally I do washi horizontally. And it was just perfect because I had a vertical spot to fill. The colors worked, the color scheme, like the theme, like I almost had thought of coffee before. So I was just super thrilled. So it's almost like I built this around the washi. But that actually gives me a great idea that I might want to do that in future when I want to come up with color schemes. I'm going to put the washi first and then pick colors from my Tombos that match the washi. So look for that in August. Then here is the weekend. Again, my two favorite color schemes, some random notes, and then finally finishing off with today, which is not yet finished, but this is kind of how I'm finishing off the month and then moving into August. I hope that you enjoyed this look through my Hobonichi Cousin for July of 2023. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.